Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and we're joined by Tom Arnold and Derek Bittner to discuss the news and many announcements from the recent Nintendo Direct. And this time we're talking everything Mario Luigi Dream Team, so let's get this party started. So yeah, Nintendo, showed off Mario Luigi Dream Team, which is the first one for the 3DS. The last one is Bowser's Inside Story on the DS back in 2009 or 10, I think. So yeah, it looks, I think it looks pretty cool. They're showing off, basically the whole concept of the game is Luigi can go to sleep at various places, it seems, and Mario hops into his dreams, like literally jumps into Luigi's dreams, and can explore these two-dimensional environments that take place in Luigi's dream world. So what are you guys' initial reaction to seeing the game? How do you think it looks compared to the previous ones?
Well, I'm always up for more Mario and Luigi. I've loved the series ever since I first played it on the Game Boy Advance. Partners in Time was a bit weak, but it still had its moments, but Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story were great, so as long as it's along those lines, I'm totally looking forward to this. It's a great summer game.
I was almost disappointed that it kind of looks like it's in 3D now, but if they keep the great expressions on Mario and Luigi and the different characters, I won't mind that at all.
Well, right, by 3D you mean like it's all polygonal now,
yeah.
Right, instead of sprites. Yeah, I agree actually. That was the thing that struck me the most. Like that stood out right away. As they because the previous games had like really good animation, I thought. It was all hand drawn and it looked really good, really smooth. So yeah, that was a little bit jarring, but I think from what I've seen, they did a pretty good job of trying to match that style, especially in the 2D segments where it looks like they're mimicking or they're purposefully like mimicking, the old, like kind of like an old school look to it.
Yeah, these games are probably some of the most that you actually get a personality out of Mario and Luigi, even more so than like the Paper Marios. You get like good writing and humor out of the Paper Mario games, but this is where you get the personality from.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point, because yeah, Paper Mario, does have a usually really well written dialogue. But all the animation, is all like Flash style, basically, for lack of a better term. No offense, Tom. Where like you just have things that like grow and shrink, and all the body parts kind of move like independently. They're not like all each frame animation isn't drawn, whereas Mario and Luigi appeared that way.
Yeah, you could say Paper Mario falls flat compared to Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it, though. Is Mario and Luigi does have a really expressive art style, and yeah, humor as you mentioned, and it looks like that is coming back. It seems to be coming back in full force. With the whole concept is like playing with Luigi while he's passed out.
That doesn't sound right.
No,
yeah. Oh God!
Right. So yeah. So in the video, we can see that on the bottom screen, you can see Luigi sleeping while Mario explores a dream on the top screen. And so on the bottom screen, you also have Starlo, who's back from Bowser's Inside Story, and you can interact. And Starlo interacts with Luigi in various ways by tapping on the touchscreen. And in one specific scenario, we saw when you touch his nose, it causes Luigi to sneeze, and that changes the dream. Which in the dream, it caused this gust of wind to appear, and it spun a platform around. So it seems the game's gonna be like really, heavily puzzle based, based on his interactions with Luigi and how his reactions change the dreams. What do you guys think of that gameplay mechanic? Do you think it looks, kind of interesting, or?
I think it has a lot of potential. There's a lot you can do with it when it comes to dreams. You can get as wacky as you want, and there's all kinds of possibilities they can really go with this. I mean, I'm kind of hoping for, but I kind of doubt we're gonna get like a look at like maybe an inferiority complex with Luigi, but who knows? Probably not. There's probably not going to be any great psychological study when it comes to the Mario Brothers.
If there's any game that would do that, it would be a game from Alpha Dream, because they've already explored various facets of Luigi in the previous Mario and Luigi's.
Yeah, that's true. Like, you get such great personality out of them. That's why I'm really hoping they really dive into Luigi's character and maybe show a little bit of jealousy or worry or something like that. And we kind of got that with that little line that you had translated where, like, don't leave leave me, bro."
Right, yeah. He says, in that one dream, it looks like a dream sequence where you have Mario, and he's followed by like 3 or 4 ghostly-looking Luigis, and then text appears on screen that says, "Don't leave me behind, bro," or "Big brother." Which seems also, it's really dark and like a little bit creepy too. You know?
Yeah, that's what I got. It's like as soon as you translate it, man, that's a little creepy. Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah, it's like, what's happening there?
Maybe it won't come across exactly like that in the North American version. Like something could be lost in the translation there.
Yeah, like wait up, or something like that. You know.
Oh, that's definitely true. But that would be really interesting. They do dive into maybe Luigi's inferiority complex, especially with it being the year of Luigi.
Perfect time.
Yep.
And you notice that every time that Luigi is the star, Nintendo sort of likes to torture him, like put him in a ghost house, or let's go inside his dreams and mess around with his mind
and play around with his face while he's passed out.
Yes, exactly.
Or Mario's missing and he has to find him.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? Even when Luigi's a star, it still centers around Mario. And Mario is missing, or Luigi's Mansion, or Mario is again missing. Except it looks like Luigi's Mansion 2 may finally buck that trend. Until I'm sure it turns out like you've been rescuing Mario the entire time or something.
Probably.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that it seems like this is the first time where Luigi is legitimately saving the world on his own.
Right. So what do you guys think about the dream concept? To me, it looked a little bit like a mixture of Bowser's Inside Story and Partners in Time. So it reminded me of Bowser's Inside Story. Because in that game, you would occasionally be sucked into Bowser's stomach, and they would have to explore Bowser's stomach in 2D while Bowser could still roam the world in 3D. But then it reminded me of Partners in Time in the sense that in that game you had like one overworld, and then you would reach these time holes that would take you to a whole different area, back in time, or in the future, I think, as well. And so basically the overworld acted as a hub to these other various subworlds. And that's how it seems like it might work in this game, where Luigi might access different pillows in the overworld to access, these dreamlike sequences, or these dream sequences in, that serve as secondary worlds. What do you think of that mixture of these two mechanics?
I love the originality of the idea, and it's just, to play something new and fresh intrigues me more than if they just rehashed another Mario and Luigi, despite how good they are.
Right.
I love the style of Bowser's Inside Story. I thought it worked really well. It did a great job of blending in the classic Mario sense, and then also the newer, more RPG-like elements of the series. And like I said, I see a lot of potential in this, and not exactly a lot to go on, but from what I've seen, I'm really hopeful.
Yeah, I'm just really curious to see to what extent the dreams play a factor. I mean, it would seem, given the name Dream Team, it's going to play a pretty big role.
Yeah, and even in Bowser's Inside Story, you spend a good bit of time inside Bowser.
Right.
Or even playing as Bowser, which is completely new, and let's admit it, probably some of the most fun you had in that game.
And actually, now that you mention it, thinking back to my time with Bowser's Inside Story, which I really enjoyed, because I didn't like Partners in Time at all. My least favorite part of the game was actually exploring Bowser. I actually found the sequences like a little bit boring. You were exploring these kind of uninspired environments, even though they're based on Bowser's insides. Like they all kind of look the same. And the 2D gameplay just didn't really appeal to me that much. But I did like the interactions with how you could play around, with how what you did in Bowser's Inside Bowser affected Bowser himself. Which actually, now that I think about it, is basically the inverse of what's happening here. Where
pretty much.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because basically Bowser's reactions would change how he could act in the world, and now you're playing around with Luigi in the real world that changes how things happen in the 2D world. So I'm just hoping that that things are maybe a little bit more diverse this time around. I'm guessing with it being Luigi's Dreams, that it will be.
Yeah, you can play around with it a bit more than you can with the inside of somebody's body.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then actually, when you were saying that, I started wondering, it's like, why are we going inside Luigi's Dreams? Like, what's the threat that only Luigi's Dreams can help us? Or are we rescuing Luigi? I don't know. The more I think about the plot, the more I'm intrigued.
Maybe he's got amnesia. That's the typical thing, and only going into his dreams is a way to find out the hidden secret to stop the last boss or something.
Ooh, so it basically would just be Inception at that point. That would make sense, actually. I mean, I could actually see. I mean,
Yeah, I could definitely see it too.
like legitimately, I could see actually, Inception serving as a strong inspiration for this. And I think your idea, Tom, actually makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, something being hidden inside like Luigi's mind that you have to retrieve.
And why else would he go around pillow to pillow and like willingly go to sleep to let Mario
and have people molest him while he's sleeping?
With a bunch of toads like on top of it. It's like, when he wakes up, it's like, what the hell?
Didn't Luigi also have like sort of an antagonistic relationship with Starlo in Bowser's Inside Story? So maybe this is like revenge for her. Like she gets to fool around with Luigi's face while he's sleeping.
And actually, what if Luigi doesn't know about any of this? What if he's just really tired, he goes to sleep, and then Mario just jumps into his dreams to discover Luigi's hidden secrets, while Starlo just starts playing around with his face?
That'd be really sad.
Yeah. But actually, you bring up an interesting point, Derek, because Starlo, right? They did have like a kind of a
rivalry.
Yeah, it was like a rivalry. Yeah, where like they didn't quite get along, and they still had to work together. But she didn't quite like Luigi as much as she did Mario. So yeah, I wonder how that's going to play into that game, because by virtue of them bringing back the character, I'm sure they're going to carry over that thread.
One would hope. That's the whole point of continuity.
And now, and actually bringing that up, I wonder to what extent the game's going to build on Bowser's, or how much it's going to have in common with Bowser's Inside Story. Because the first two Paper Marios...
You mean Mario and Luigi?
I'm sorry, Mario and Luigi. they didn't really carry anything between them, did they?
Not really. The only common thread that went between all the games is Fawful. Like, he was in the first game as a minion. Second game, he sort of made a cameo appearance. In the third game, he was actually the main villain, I believe. He was the main villain. So maybe Fawful's back. I mean, he has been the common thread for all of these games.
So that's an interesting point. So maybe, I mean, that would make sense if he's been in all the previous ones. He would be back in this one as well. I wonder if this game's almost serving as a like, if it's almost kind of like bringing together all of the games, because we already have mechanics similar to Bowser's Inside Story and Partners in Time, and then we have Starlo back from Bowser's Inside Story, and then also we have the characters in the town that look similar to the ones from the Bean Bean Kingdom in the first Paper, or God, I keep calling it Paper Mario, in the first Mario and Luigi. So yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting idea. I wonder if they are kind of trying to bring together all these different worlds. No, actually, speaking of which, so now that we have, because the whole thing takes place in dreams, as I pointed out in the analysis, it's not the first Mario game to be based around dreams, and that was, of course, Super Mario Bros. 2. So what do you guys think? To what extent do you think they might bring in the Mario 2 universe? From the trailer, there's been nothing to indicate they're actually going to do that at all. But I think there's a chance there is. What do you guys think the odds are of that?
I agree with you. Just because the first Mario and Luigi, like we mentioned in the analysis video, that they brought back the Koopalings. That was the very first game ever since I believe Mario World that they came back in.
Well, technically, it was the first game since that Super Scope, Yoshi Safari, but that was right after Mario World. But
nobody cares about Yoshi Safari.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a non-factor.
But yeah, it was just so cool to actually go fight them again, like for the first time. And yeah, they've gotten a little old hat now, but we can still do the same thing with Wart, or maybe some of the other bosses from Super Mario Bros. 2. I mean,
Mouser.
Mouser,
yeah,
yes.
Mouser and Triclyde and the Claw Grip, I believe his name was.
Damn, dude, your knowledge of Mario 2, like that's impressive.
I played Mario 2 a lot because that's the only NES game I could never beat. It's too damn hard.
I always got to Wart and never beat him.
Oh yeah,
my brother beat him.
I never got to Wart. I'd always die in the snow level.
You know what? I don't think I actually got to Wart on the NES version. Yeah, I think I always had trouble with Ice World too. I finally beat it with
you have to use the Princess Toadstool in that world.
Yeah.
Oh, I used her constantly. Yeah, I still couldn't beat the damn thing.
Are there other characters besides Princess Toadstool?
Luigi can jump far.
Oh, Luigi was useless in that game.
Yeah. Well, and like in every game, it's the Luigi Factor.
Yeah. Oh, that jump! But normally you wouldn't say this because of the whole history of that game, saying with it being not technically a Mario game, but they did bring it out in Japan as Super Mario USA. So
right.
And a lot of those others, like the Shy Guys, have crossed over. Bob-omb's crossed over.
Right. And as you mentioned, Mario and Luigi have referenced other games in the series before. Of course, there was the Koopalings, but they were also like Dr. Mario viruses in the first one.
Oh yeah.
I think they had Super Mario World style dinosaur enemies in one of them.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah. So I just feel like it makes perfect sense. And if there's a time to bring back like Wart or other Mario 2 characters that haven't been seen since, this is really it. And I feel like there's a lot they could do with it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
I would love a Wart cameo. Even I would be satisfied with that.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Oh, and actually, now that you mention it, that's the only time we've seen Wart since Mario 2 was in a cameo in Link's Awakening. Actually, of all games.
So if he shows up in dreams, it's always,
Oh, you're
dreams.
right. That is a really interesting point. You're right. He's only ever shown up in dreams because in Link's Awakening also takes place in a dream. So he has to appear here. All right. Well, do you guys have any final thoughts on the game? Anything you wanted to comment that we haven't pointed out yet before we wrap this up?
I have one worry.
All right.
Seeing that the dream sequence fighting, which may have only been 2 seconds of actual footage, extended to 3 minutes in the analysis. I worry that it's going to be simple, like the recent Paper Mario RPG. Only with Mario and maybe Luigi does very little as a secondary attack.
I'm glad you brought that up because one of the complaints that I had and a lot of people had with the new Paper Mario was just how simple the concept or the combat became. Only having one character, no helper characters, and then getting rid of experience and all that. And I think Derek mentioned to me when we were working on the analysis is that a lot of people are fearful that might happen again this time where they're dumbing down the combat because we only see Mario actually fighting any enemies. Although it appears that Luigi can help him out in some respects, with a whole bunch of Luigis appearing. But so, as I mentioned in the analysis, we only ever see battles that appear to take place in the dream world. So I'm hoping there's still battles in the main world. Where
I think there is just because they showed an enemy in the main world.
Oh, that's true. You're right. That's a good point. You do see them, right?
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things I wanted to mention. I almost forgot is that the enemy in the battles that you did see, they sort of remind me of a cross between the Shroobs from Mario and Luigi 2 and the Octoombas from Mario Galaxy.
Right.
Like they look most similar to the Octoombas, but they're purple. That's why I'm saying Shroobs. But who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe they are just a catch-all, and they're bringing back enemies that don't really get used elsewhere.
Well, that wraps up our discussion on Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Thanks for watching, and make sure to stay tuned to GameXplain.com for more on Mario and Luigi Dream Team and other things gaming too. And make sure to check out our other discussion videos for the other games that were announced during the recent Nintendo Direct. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.